Good morning, guys. How are you doing? And I'm just here in the treehouse at the end of our garden because this morning I wanted to tell you a little bit about Jesus's ministry and the way in which his ministry happened in all sorts of different places. It didn't just happen in the synagogue, it didn't just happen in people's houses, but it happened all over the place. And so I thought I would demonstrate that by basically coming to the treehouse at the bottom of our garden and doing ministry this morning in here, which is pretty random, but that's the way that it was with Jesus. And one of the things that you see in the start of Mark chapter 1, and I love this, Jesus basically in Mark's gospel anyway, he starts his ministry very, very quickly. Things get off the ground very quickly, and then we have this kind of incident. I suppose he calls his first disciples, and then in verse 21 of chapter 1 he enters Capernaum, and there he's like healing some people. Everybody's amazed. They're saying, oh, he's got a new teaching with a new authority. He commands even the unclean spirits and they obey him. And Jesus is kind of gaining in his authority and stance within the community. And then it says in verse 29, in the next verse it says, oh, morning Karen, thanks for tuning in. It's nice to have somebody with me here this morning. If anyone else is watching, just say hello and let me know. And in case you don't know, I'm here in a treehouse for reasons which may become clear in a minute. Anyway, in verse 29 it says, and immediately Jesus left the synagogue and entered the house of Simon and Andrew with James and John. Now I was thinking that if you translated that into the hi Karen, if you translated that into the COVID translation of the Bible, it would read something like, and immediately Jesus left Facebook Live and entered a Zoom meeting with Simon and Andrew, James and John. Which is just to say that I think there's a huge place in the moment in terms of our vision for ministry online, to be doing things in all kinds of different ways to reach different kinds of people. And I'll come back to that thought in a minute. Oh, Deborah, good morning. I'll come back to that thought in a minute. Because the other thing I think we see is that then the next morning, verse 35, it says, and the next morning, whilst it was still dark, Jesus got up from that place in Capernaum, where he was famous and where he was well known, where people were starting to love him. He got up from that place and he left it and departed and went to a desolate place. And so two things I think we see from Jesus in chapter 1 and the way that he does his ministry. Firstly, he does it in all kinds of different places. He does it publicly and he does it privately. And secondly, the other thing that we see is that he doesn't care what people think of him. He doesn't care about his reputation and his fame. He'll go anywhere, and he wants to be true and authentic to his calling. And so we've been thinking the last few days about how it is that we do ministry online as a church, and just thinking that we want to be doing something of that. So doing stuff that's public and private. And you might have seen, I'm following loads of churches all around the world on Facebook just to see what they're doing. And loads of churches are doing like a pre-recorded, highly produced church service that they're uploading onto Facebook, and then people are watching it. Loads of other churches are doing like a Zoom meeting where people are meeting face to face. And that seems really great to have everybody in community there together, meeting one another. But what it is that we're trying to do is probably something slightly different, which is not a criticism in either of those things, but we're not going to do the highly produced pre-recorded thing, partly because we can't, and we want instead to do something that's like Jesus, real and authentic to who we believe it is that God has called us, rather than something that's incredibly polished. But secondly, we also don't want to be doing something that's necessarily entirely private either and restricted onto a Zoom call where nobody else can access it. And so instead, what we've been doing is taking the private community of the church and broadcasting it live on Facebook, and we'll also be broadcasting it live on YouTube as of this Sunday as well, and getting people interacting like you guys are this morning. Hi Chris, hi Angharad, hi Nanette, thanks for watching, and you guys are interacting with me in this moment, and there's a sense in which this is public. Anybody can see this on Facebook right now at this moment, and there's a sense in which it's kind of like it's just us, and we're here together being church. You guys are commenting, we're interacting, and it might not be as good as a Zoom call where we're face to face, but the brilliant thing about this platform and this way of doing it is that it's kind of like street preaching. People will be dropping in and out all the time, watching little snippets of what's going on. And so on Sunday morning, we had about 70 people from church that were watching the whole way through the service. But we had another about 800 people that watched for like 2 or 3 minutes, or 5 minutes, or 6 minutes, or something like that. And they were just kind of dropping in and out the whole time, just seeing what was going on and checking it out. A bit like if we were doing church on in the middle of Lancaster, on that plinth in Market Square, and everybody would be watching, they'd be walking past, they'd be hearing snippets of what's going on. That's kind of basically what it is that we're doing with church at the moment on Facebook. And so I just want to encourage you to, on Sunday mornings, just keep doing what we're doing. Keep commenting, keep liking, keep sharing stuff, because the more that we do that, the more that people will see it and engage with it. And then as we meet people in the public place, we will then want to try and take them into the private place. So just like Jesus there in that verse 21 in Mark 1, it says, oh no, that wasn't, I'm losing the verse. This is like what I did last time I was on Facebook Live and I lost the verse. It's verse 29, where it says Jesus immediately left the synagogue and entered the house of Simon and Andrew. You know, and I was saying it's like Jesus left Facebook Live and went onto a Zoom call with Simon, Andrew, James and John. We want to be doing that on Sunday as well, and be saying, you know, we've got prayer ministry afterwards, and we've got this kind of pre-service refreshments, which is more of a just kind of catch up and chat, to be saying, yeah, we want to do the public ministry, but then we also want to just meet people and be community and see each other's faces and just spend time with each other and have a laugh and all that sort of stuff as well. So our vision really is to do both of those things. We want to be public and really just be on show for the world to see and say, here we are as church, we believe in the things of Jesus, we believe that there's hope in this moment, and we want anybody able to see that and anybody to be able to access it. But then we also want to do the private as well, and we want to be getting people into Zoom calls where they're seeing each other face to face, where there's real depth of community and communication. I've been in a few Zoom calls this week with our life group, with different people on ministry teams. So if you've not got involved with a life group or something like that, where you're regularly coming with a community of people to do a Zoom call, I recommend that you get involved and do that as well. And just it's a time of experimenting and believing that ministry can happen anywhere, even at the treehouse at the end of my garden, which is where I am this morning, if you hadn't yet realised. But in the midst of that all, that we are to not in any way feel the pressure to put on a show or perform, but we're to be authentic. I think if people want to do online church, they can get worship from Elevation, they can get preaching from Matt Chandler. The one thing that they cannot find anywhere else is real genuine community and real genuine authenticity that is rooted in the place of Lancaster. So that is what we want to offer front and centre, and it might not always be highly polished or professional, but that's what we're doing. So this Sunday, a couple of things you need to know, one of which was we have moved our streaming platform to a service that's slightly more reliable, but that means that it's not going to be on Zoom anymore. But you can, if you don't have a Facebook account, you can watch it on YouTube instead. But I just encourage you, Facebook is such a good platform for engaging with people publicly, that if you can at all, watch it on Facebook and comment in, share, like and engage loads on Facebook, because it's really good for just reaching loads and loads of people. But if you can't get on Facebook, which you probably can because you're watching this now, if you can't get on Facebook, then or it's not being very reliable as a connection, you can watch it on YouTube, which is generally a more reliable connection for watching it. So you can do both this Sunday, but it won't be on Zoom anymore. So that's it from me. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Lynette says you wouldn't want to see me this morning anyway. Well, that's fine. Thanks. But let me just show you something amazing out my window as well, of this treehouse that I'm in, because look at the blossom on this cherry tree. Isn't that amazing? Looks absolutely stunning out the window. So maybe next time I will do it out there. But for me anyway, this morning in my treehouse, that is me. Nanette says we had a wonderful family quiz night yesterday. I think the key word is family. We do family well at Hope Church, and now we're learning to do that in a virtual way. That's right, Nanette. And that's it. That's what we have to keep doing. I'm doing ministry everywhere. I forgot to say, actually, one of the encouraging things is just the sheer numbers. I think in the last week we have had 6,000 engagements with people. That's people commenting, liking, sharing stuff on Facebook, and we've reached nearly 20,000 people that have seen our posts somewhere. And I think now the total views for our Sunday morning Easter service is 1.2k, so 1,200 people. Like, we would never normally ever have the opportunity to reach that number of people on Sunday mornings. So we've just got to keep doing what we're doing, believe that God is good, and do ministry everywhere, publicly, privately, but most importantly, authentically. So that's it, guys. And have a great day. Enjoy Friday, and we will see you on Sunday. Bye.